Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're picking up where we stopped yesterday, which was working on hairstyles, specifically for the character sheet that I'm doing. I may not get back on Sachi until, I don't know, maybe next week, because next week is Thanksgiving break, so I'll have a lot more time to do things. But we'll get into it. I think I found what I needed to do, like the spiky ponytail for Naya's hairstyle, cuz I don't know, like whenever I do it from the front it's fine, right? But then as soon as we start turning, that's where it gets a little bit weird. So I don't know what I did, or I'm not quite sure what to do, but we'll find a way. We'll find a way. It'll be fine. So let's get into that. How everyone's day been? Mine, I already talked about how the past couple of weeks have been rough, but on a brighter note, I'm starting to get the help that I need. So that's nice. That's a start. Cause it's just hard for me to communicate my needs sometimes, cause I've dealt with them being neglected in certain areas, and it's not that I've necessarily gotten used to it, cause like I'm not used to it. It's leaving me pissed off like almost all the time, but that has made communication a lot difficult. But we're gonna take things one step at a time. We're going to try to take things one step at a time in hopes of like having a better experience. So we'll see how that goes. But today I got to share some world building stuff that I haven't really worked on a lot with my counselor. That's what I mean by the help that I'm getting, right? And it was nice to be able to talk about that. Like I've created, but I've kind of neglected some of my personal stuff, partially because like with that particular project, like I keep talking about that comic project, but then I never really go into detail about it because it's become difficult. Like I sort of used it as a self-discovery thing, and then once I discovered some things that I really didn't like about myself, then it was just like whoop-de-doo. It's like, damn, the magic is gone. And that's why that idea sort of been in stasis and stuff. But then when my counselor actually asks, like, what was it about? And I don't know, I guess being asked about what I like and stuff, that helped me to open up more, so that's nice. And over Thanksgiving break, I plan on making some, hold on, my allergies. Ugh. That's another thing. Like, where I live, the weather is very inconsistent. So, the weather is very inconsistent. So, like, my allergies have been flaring up. and stuff, and it's been a bit of an inconvenience with that. Like, I got Benadryl and stuff, so I'll be fine, but that doesn't make allergies. It makes it physically bearable, but that doesn't make it any less annoying, you know. But yeah, that's something to consider with some things. But I plan on making some updated graphics and stuff with that project, so we'll see how things go. And then trust the process. Looks weird now, but then once we add more follicles. I love the music for Dorohedoro so much. And then apparently Dorohedoro's been confirmed for a second season, so that's nice. I really like the world with that. And then Noi is my favorite character. We love Big Lady. A lot of my favorite female characters as of late tend to be like Big Lady. Like, I like Karlach from Baldur's Gate, even though I don't care for Baldur's Gate 3 as a game. I don't. Like, I like a lot of the art of Asterion, but I'm also kind of fatigued with Asterion. Like, can y'all find somebody else? I'm so sorry. But like damn. But I like Karlach. I like Brienne of Tarth. Honestly, I like any role that Gwendolyn Christie plays, because I think she does a really good job, and I feel like she keeps getting screwed over with some of these roles, though. Like, for example, when she played as Captain Phasma in Star Wars, I was hyped, but because they screwed over Finn, they ended up screwing her over by extension. Okay. Wait, hold on. I got a message from somebody. Okay. Okay. There shouldn't be pre-rolls. What the fuck? Okay, we're gonna take a little bit of a break because my friend Mocha pulled up, and they wanted to say hi, and we're gonna react to a little video that you ended up showing me. Give me just one moment. Give me just a moment. Um, Cause it's this trailer for a new movie called The American Society of Magical Negroes. To be honest, okay, I personally would not mind it, depending on the direction. I wanted to have some comedy in it because, like, yeah, not the trope movie, but like I feel like if they do a comedic take on it, then it's fine. Cause I hope that the people who made this movie know that Magical Negro is a critique of how black people only exist to help non-black people. It's just commentary on the trope. I would love some comedy. Like, I need it. Oh, it's coming out next year. I'm like, do they not have a full? Is it just a teaser? They don't have a full trailer? That's it? I'll wait till there's a full trailer out. Like, okay. That's all they gave us. Like, okay, given that response in there, it might, like, be one of those. You know how the Wayans brothers, they start off, like, quote unquote, seriously when it comes to their parody movies, and then it, like, of course, they, like, shattered the expectations. I feel like it's going to be a comedy movie with an epic budget. Oh, I'm not even saying that I'm gonna pay for it. I'm waiting for a full trailer to see like the full mock-up of it. I also just hope that they don't reveal too much in the trailer. But like, okay, the name in itself is funny as hell, so like I hope that it's like a satiric sort of thing. But it still has like maybe epic stuff in there. Like I don't know. But nigga Harry Potter, please. I would rather call it nigga had atelier than nigga Harry Potter. Cause shout out Harry, that's Harold. Oh my gosh. But no, like shout out Witch Hat Atelier. Like for anybody who's like who was a Harry Potter fan and they feel lost because of all the transphobia and Zionism and shit, just read Witch Hat Atelier. It's a way better story. It still has magic school. It's inclusive. Instead of like having a character named Kingsley Shacklebolt and he's black, like I'm tired of skipping around black fantasy and sci-fi. Yeah. Like I feel like we really do need to branch out with stuff. It's nice to see more black horror, but then at the same time a lot of black horror like revolves around black trauma, so I can't even get into black horror like that. Like the only honestly the only exceptions to that, like if it's black horror but doesn't revolve around black trauma, is anything vampire related. Like anything vampire related. Okay, so medium. Sometimes horror isn't necessarily scary. Like horror describes both fear and or disgust. So pretty much as long as like there's a level of discomfort in it, it still counts as horror even if it's not scary. And then with me, I tend to what's the word? Flock towards action horror because of the no, I say it's horror. Like, yes, the lore in itself is fantastic, but like the whole point of vampires, even when you make them hot, is discomfort and fear. Especially when you look at like vampires as an allegory for different stuff, whether that's an allegory for like violent intimacy or being gay or exploitation or like there's always a level of discomfort with them even when they make them alluring because of like the sort of violence and stuff that's inherent to it. Because like that's like saying that the Exorcist isn't horror but it's fantasy because of the fantastical elements of it. That's good for you. But I say horror because like movies specifically like Queen of the Damned or even Blackula. Shout out Blackula. Oh no, that was more of a parody film. I remember because like okay, part of the reason why I mentioned like the black vampire films is because I realized wasn't really a revelation because I already knew, but it's like reminded myself that it exists. Because I remember seeing a post on Twitter and somebody was just like, enough time has passed, we need a black version of Dracula. And it's just like, no, we don't. One, because we already technically have two. We have two, because the first one is Blackula and then the other one is Vampire in Brooklyn. And Vampire in Brooklyn is practically a modern day. It is practically a modern day 1992 Dracula. Because for anybody who's read Bram Stoker's Dracula, it's not a romance story. It's a propaganda piece. But through the 1992 version with Anthony Hopkins and Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder, it ended up doing like a sort of romance twist on it. And that sort of influenced Dracula to be more of a romance thing ever since. But I'm like, we don't need another black version of Dracula. And even if we never had a black version of Dracula, we don't. Hex, we got Dracula from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I think we're fine on that. We're fine. Mm-hmm. She just aged a little bit better. Fun fact about the 1992... I forgot to turn the music back on. I'm so sorry. Fun fact about the 1992... I almost got so concerned because I was just like, where the hell is the thing? The 1992 adaptation. The Romanian wedding that they do... At some point where Mina finds out that Jonathan is alive and they go to get married, it was actually so culturally accurate that it was actually legally binding. So Winona and Keanu had to get a divorce. Like, it's so funny. I really like their chemistry on the thing. Of course, Winona and what was the name of the actor? Gary Coleman? I think it was Gary Coleman. Or is it Gary Cole? Hold on. Dracula. I know it's Gary something and it has a Cole in it, but I don't know if it's man or just Cole. 1992. Cast. I'm searching on my phone. Gary Oldman. I really like the chemistry between her and Gary Oldman. I also like that the movie strays away from the roots, cause like, okay, sometimes I am strict about book adaptations, especially when it comes to like classic stuff, when it's like there's a difference between Frankenstein as an adaptation and Frankenstein as an archetype. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of yeah, we see your xenophobia and decided no. Dracula is the thing that I'm glad that they just do Dracula as an archetype instead of an allegory for Romani and Jewish people, because like, holy shit. That's just so ass. But and then along with that, now one thing that I would like, okay, so let's say that they do engage with the themes. I would like to see them turn it on a head. Actually, that's something that I actually plan to do with some of my OCs. Cause like as I've talked before, because I've talked about making comics and stuff. There was a project that Zivy and I was working on, and we had we have a comic together, and there was a project that we were working on, and then I thought of like a AU or something, where not necessarily a Dracula AU, but I was thinking of Jim and the Holograms, that one episode where they did Beauty and the Beast, and it was a stage play and stuff. It was just like, what if the characters did a stage play of it and stuff? And then I made like additional, not necessarily OCs, but I was just like, here would be my sort of casting and stuff, and what commentary about immigrant experiences during the, like, I think it was the Edwardian era that Dracula takes place in. Because it's the late 1800s, but it's not quite Victorian. And the only time after that is the Edwardian period. Now, when it comes to fixing things, sometimes I feel like with some adaptations, they just simply shouldn't exist. And it should just be in book form. Because, like, some things that I don't like, right, is when people want to profit from like an existing franchise, but then they don't want to engage with some of the issues in it. Like, I'm 23, but I watched it growing up because my mom shared some stuff with her childhood with me. Like, I'm 23. I just know what Jim and the Holograms is. Also, when Discovery Kids became Hasbro, because, you know, that was the channel that also played My Little Pony and stuff, they would play Jim and the Holograms episodes. But what was an example that I was thinking of? I watched Hairspray. And apparently in the original Hairspray musical, they do have a line where somebody says a slur and then they end up cutting it off. And I'm like half and half on it. I understand the sentiment that you don't want to alienate people, because, you know, being called a slur is traumatizing. And even though you're doing racial commentary, that doesn't necessarily mean that the people of the race being commentated on have to be uncomfortable while watching it. But then at the same time, it's like, I feel like with me personally, I care more about like imagery than necessarily dialogue with some things, because mainly my issue when it comes to some racial commentary is like how we get depicted. Like, say if there's a moment of violence, I don't want the violence to be explicit. I would rather have it like off screen or mention the aftermath of it than necessarily showing the act itself, because you don't want to run the risk of making a spectacle of black pain. Direct race commentary films could be removed from theaters outside of specific educational screens. I don't even think that. Like, it's just a matter of execution with things. Because, like, okay, I'll talk about black horror again. An example of showcasing the issues of violence committed towards black people without making a spectacle of it is the most recent iteration of Candyman, which was directed by Nia DaCosta and produced by Jordan Peele. And the violence that was shown with Sherman, like it's kind of a spoiler, but then at the same time it's like it's shown in the trailer. It's not a big spoiler. There's this lore point that Candyman is pretty much a mantle of black pain and stuff. And one of the mantle holders, Sherman, he's like the second most recent one. What happens to him is shown off screen, and then when they show like the line of mantle holders in another trailer, it's like in the form of a puppet show. So like you know what's happening, but it's done in a way that like obscures the direct imagery, so you're not like being subject to graphic violence, because this is like real shit that actually happens, and we don't necessarily need that. Yeah, it's done tactfully. But like when it comes to a character saying a slur, like you know how there's controversy sometimes where it's just like, oh, this person shouldn't be saying a slur even if they're acting a racist role, and I feel like that's kind of dumb, because like even though racism comes in different forms, right? And people can be underhanded in their insults and stuff, because like when I was in orchestra and stuff, some people would say some shit like, oh, she's so articulate, and think that's a compliment and stuff. But like that's not everybody. And depending on the kind of situation that you're depicting, there is no like reach around insulting and stuff. Some people are just explicitly racist, and I don't think that an actor should be like canceled for playing that role, because that's just stupid. If anything, I would cancel the directors for writing that kind of shit, because depending on how it's handled, right? Because we're talking about being tactful and tasteful and stuff. I don't want somebody using slurs like using jelly on a Popeye's biscuit. Like, don't be slurring it up. Don't have every other word be it. But if it's like one or two, I don't care, because the character is racist. Like, it's either the words or... Don't get me started on Tarantino. I remember there was this one picture. I remember when he played a character that said the N-word, and he just sounds like the dude doesn't even have braces, but he sounds like somebody with braces, and it's like, sir. Like, why did you think that was a good idea? Like, I remember there was this meme that somebody made, and it was just like, if you got to sit at a table with directors, who would it be? And it was like, at one table it was Tarantino and Spike Lee, and I'm just sitting there. You know that one meme that's just like, African Americans could go N-word this and N-word that, but a white person can, and then the black person was like, so say it. I feel like Spike Lee and Tarantino, I don't think that Tarantino is the kind of person who like fights for the quote unquote right to say the N-word, but I feel like he gets a bit too comfortable sometimes. Like, just because you and Samuel L. Jackson are good friends, that means nothing. And I feel like Samuel L. Jackson like scares the shit out of him after he tries it a little bit too much, because I'm like, sir. Yeah, it gets me how Spike Lee would say stuff like coonery, buffoonery to describe stuff like Tyler Perry stuff, and that doesn't necessarily mean that he's wrong, right? But then he has his moments as well. Shout out how he snubbed The Color Purple getting the Oscar. He and the NAACP snubbed The Color Purple getting an Oscar because they thought that the movie was trying to villainize black men. Like, be so serious. Be so serious. What do you mean? Let's see. I'll wait till the ad breaks, and then I'll finish what I'm talking about, because I gotta reply to this one comment, and I don't want mediums to miss out. Just one moment. Um, okay, so although I understand like that fatigue with glorifying black pain, um, with The Color Purple, I will defend the movie except for 2%, because my only issue with the movie was how it sort of it left out some of the queer aspects of it. But that is a good movie. And it was a book adaptation from an actual black woman, and it was commentary on the stuff that was happening at that time. I know that we just got to have balance with things, and we got to be particular about execution, because I feel like that's more important, because we will always need stories that shed a light to our struggles, because oftentimes we have to take matters into our own hands and actually make content that highlights it, because that's the only way for people to know and stuff. The Color Purple, especially now, is a very necessary piece of film, especially with how rampant black femicide is, and how too often our own men get a pass because of weaponized victimhood for it. Like, we're seeing this stuff with Megan and Keke Palmer and stuff. My issue with the new movie, though, first of all, I don't think that The Color Purple needs to have a musical, because it already has a book and a movie. What more can you do with it? And two, I don't like how Celie and her sister are two different skin tones. I don't like how Celie and her sister have two different skin tones. Yeah, but like The Color Purple, it came out like what, in the late 90s? It was like the 80s or 90s. Its existence is not inherently the problem. We could talk about how commentary has become a new form of like social currency and stuff, because I could shit on Jordan Peele. How are you going to make quote unquote like revolutionary films or films commenting on social injustice, and yet you're a Zionist? Like, holy shit, the call is coming from inside the house. But like, at the time that it came out, it was necessary, and at the time that it's still out, it's necessary. I just don't want a musical, especially. I just don't want a musical. Like, we don't need a musical adaptation, especially one that's like gonna be colorist, because like, I don't like that Celie and her sister aren't the same shade. I don't like that. Cause I don't like that because the color purple shed light on stuff like featureism, because that's something that often gets overlooked in this community. And stuff like, an example of featureism is like the way that Beehive members talk about Jay-Z and his physical features and stuff. That's featureism. And the only way to really shed light to that is when Celie and her sister are the same shade, but they're still treated different because of the difference in features. Hey Poppy, we're talking about film analysis and like the necessity for certain uncomfortable media. I will say though that we do need more movies that showcase Black joy. Yeah, and I think that's stupid because the audience does have capacity to understand that. There is a capacity to understand. Whether they actually choose to entertain it, that should be on them. You don't water down a piece of media's themes. And that's what I mean by there are some things that we're just going to have to be uncomfortable with. You don't water down the themes of a media just to make the audience comfortable and stuff, especially when you're talking about an already uncomfortable subject. This is why I say I don't necessarily care about slurs. I mean, I care about how it's used, because like if somebody is going into a movie theater to watch something about racial commentary, I don't think that you should necessarily be expected to be comfortable the whole time. Like, there's gonna be some cringe. Yeah. Like, it was just like, oh, I came here to get an escape. Escape from what, nigga? The movie is about racism. What you escaping from? Why did you come here to get that? But I do agree that we do need more stories that talk about like Black joy and stuff, because like nobody should. One of the issues with media that like brings awareness to things, if that's the only kind of media that there is, then you run the risk of audiences getting used to these atrocities happening to people. I actually made a post about that concerning the I wouldn't say escape either, because entertainment as escapism can kind of suck in its own sense. I want more something that envisions a better future. I don't want to escape from oppression. I want oppression to be gone. I want people to imagine a world where that's no longer a thing, or a world where we manage to fix that thing. Excellent. It's not a version of escapism, because if you're trying to envision a world where these things are fixed and stuff, you're actually giving people hope and stuff. There's a difference between giving hope and like, I don't consider something like solar punk to be escapism, because like the whole point is about imagining specifically imagining rebuilding after these issues, right? Because you know how a lot of punk fiction focuses on fighting the big bad and stuff, but then they don't talk about the rebuilding aspect after. Solar punk talks about the aftermath and trying to do something better after that. Another thing about Black joy is that it's not necessarily escapism, because like we don't go through these issues all the damn time. A lot of us have lives and existences outside of that, and oppression isn't all that we are. So that's why I'm the way I am against escapism. Because Black Joy, for a lot of people, is their reality. And it's also a reality that we should be striving towards. But that's essentially my that's like my philosophy when it comes to making media and stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of escapist media anymore, especially when um a lot of people who make mainstream escapist media is like stuff to escape from minorities and shit. That's why I shit on anime spaces so much. Cause holy shit. So that's why I don't do that escape thing, because I don't see escape as like healthy and whatnot. Like, okay, escapism can be fun for a short period of time, but we shouldn't be like having that as a goal. But that's my take on it. It's actually more or less what I'm trying to do with my other comic piece and stuff. Because, like, okay, I talked about the other day, I think checkpoint goals are easier to reach than just setting one long-term goal. Well, yeah, but I don't think that escapism should even be a short-term goal, because it always ends up sticking. It doesn't necessarily go beyond that. Like, it runs the issue of keeping people placated. Wait, damn. It runs the issue of keeping people placated and instead of wanting to go beyond. That's why I sort of, whenever I talk about representation in media, I emphasize inclusion in the workplace before I emphasize representation on the screen. Because the reason why we lack representation on the screen is due to an exclusive workplace. Because, like, so many people put so much emphasis on who's acting and stuff, but not who's, like, making any of the creative and executive decisions. Yeah. But I feel like that escapism, like, for example, I consider Bridgerton to be escapism. And even then, it sucks at being that, because they can't even include black people without, like, including slavery and stuff. And it's just like, you're not even historically accurate when it comes to the costumes. You're not historically accurate when it comes to the costumes or the music. But you just had to bring trauma and shit just to explain us being here, instead of just being like, we're here and that's it. You also did not have to put in actual historical figures and cast black people as them, especially when they were in oppressive positions. Like, don't pull that love conquers all bullshit just because she was desirable to, what's his name? Was it King Edward or King George? I think it was King Edward. Whoever the fuck it was with Queen Charlotte and stuff. Especially when Meghan Markle is going through what she is right now. Like, that's so tone deaf. Like, it's so lame. now, whenever I heard the word reverse racism, I always thought that it was just another word for internalized racism. Because when you look at it at face value, that seems to be the meaning of it. Wait, what trope? I'm confused. But that's pretty much my take on Bridgerton. Casting black actors as historically racist figures for the sake of diversity. Yeah, I don't like that. Because it's like trying to make history more palatable and stuff. And I don't think that we should be looking to we shouldn't be looking to literal oppressors to see ourselves in. Like, specifically, mainly the catalyst of it, like colorblind casting has been a thing. A big example of that is 1997 Cinderella. 1997 Cinderella with Brandy and Whitney Houston. Yeah, Hamilton was what exasperated it. And it's sad because, like, on one hand, it's nice that there's more colorblind casting when it comes to stage performances and stuff, but at the same time, I'm really half and half when it comes to colorblind casting. I feel like identity conscious casting should be more the goal with some stuff. And I say that because depending on the demographic of the person who's playing that character, their identity sort of changes the context. No. Because the whole point of Cinderella was that it's colorblind. I actually found it funny. I found it funny as hell. I found it funny as hell because I'm like, what do you mean a black woman and a white dude made a Filipino? Like, with something that's a fairy tale like that, to me, I automatically assume that they adopted. I'm like, oh, because, like, Whoopi Goldberg and the other dude, they already look kind of older anyway, so I just assumed they adopted, and it was fine. Well, it wasn't that they were older, because, like, he's a grown-ass man, so of course they're going to be older, because now they're grandparent age, but, like, still, I'm like, yeah, they adopted, it's fine. It'd be like that sometimes. I need to make this bigger. You know, I feel like people need to upgrade to identity conscious casting because of that aspect of identity giving a piece of media different context. An example, a major example of this is Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living Dead is like one of the most iconic zombie movies because that sort of shaped what the modern zombie is today, because, you know, originally they were more like the hoodoo definition and stuff, where they were just shambling and no longer in control of themselves due to being mind controlled. But Night of the Living Dead was what created the modern day zombie. And the character Ben was originally supposed to be played by a white actor, but after seeing the actor's performance and stuff, they made him black instead, but they didn't change any of the voice lines and stuff. There's like a scene where one of the survivors refused to listen to Ben's directions because he was just like, I'm not taking orders from one of you, from somebody like you. And in the original, you know, without the black actor, it's like, oh, he just doesn't want to be shown up and whatnot. But like, Ben is the only black one in the group, and the movie came out during the civil rights movement. So the context is a bit different. And then at the end of the film, Ben is the last one standing, right? And cuz like the whole catalyst of the zombie apocalypse in that movie was that a meteorite hit a cemetery and the radiation caused the dead to come back to life. And at the end of it, like a bunch of cops and volunteers and stuff, they show up to shoot any of the stragglers and to rescue any survivors and stuff. And Ben, he's like the last one standing, and he sees the volunteers and stuff, and he's like waving to go, I'm alive, but he's covered in blood and guts, so they assume that he's a zombie and they shoot him through the window. But like I said, this came out during the civil rights movement, and they had like guns and dogs and stuff, so from that perspective they look like good old boys. So even though Ben was a colorblind cast, his participation in the film ended up changing the context of the story. So that's why, even though colorblind casting, I think that it's good in specific situations. Other times you have to be identity conscious with stuff because of how somebody's identity can change the context of the story. And that's another reason why I don't want a black version of Dracula, because it's just like, depending on how it's adapted, it really can go wayside. Plus, I just like Blackula, and specifically the Dracula from Billy and Mandy, and Vampire in Brooklyn, and Blade, and Queen of the Damned, and stuff. We can never have enough black vampire media, especially for my mom, because my mom, she loves vampire stuff in general and stuff, because everybody in my house likes horror and whatnot. My mom tends to be into vampires and mysteries and Stephen King and stuff. My sister is more into stuff like American Horror Story, and American Horror Story and Stranger Things. I'm more into action horror, so like the Predator or Resident Evil. But I'm trying to think. I'm looking for a mouth reference. I might give her a gap in her teeth. Also, I'm glad that I got this hair done. Because, like, okay, here's the hack. Since I drew the hair, the front perspective of the hair, literally all I got to do is just copy and paste and put it on the bald figure. And then drawing it from the back, I just got to copy and paste the bun. I win. It's lit. But, we love shortcuts. We love making life easier on ourselves. Like, it's lit. We try to be innovative in this house. But yeah, there could always be more black vampire media, but I feel like so far we have a pretty decent roster and itinerary of films. I might not give her a gap in her teeth. Probably not. It's fine. I am gonna give her a purple tongue though, cause she this is a Pathfinder character, and she's Kenyan coded, but specifically she lives in a more wooded area, and they eat a lot of poison stuff. So I'm giving her a purple tongue as like a nod to that. Knockdown. I'm trying to remember how many teeth are in between the fangs. Actually, I might give her a gap in her teeth. Yeah. Like, I was literally counting my teeth with my tongue. I was just like, how many again? Like, how do I draw buck teeth without making her look like, well, not buck teeth, but a tooth gap. Draw. Like, I know how to do it, but it's like, how do I do it in my way? Capore, capore. Yo. So I should probably spread these out more. Probably should have put these in another. Should put these in another label, and then I'll merge it. Stop. Anastasia. Make a folder. I'm like sketching it out so I know how to place it. Go get it, do get everything I have. Ooh, that reminds me. Okay, so because whenever I talk about Naya, I end up talking about my Jujutsu Kaisen OC, because she's also like Naya is Kenyan coded, but my Jujutsu Kaisen OC is Kenyan, because I made it so that she's the cousin of Miguel, who's that one character that shows up in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, and he's from Kenya. And he was the MVP in that movie. slash slash prequel volume. But Luna, how I ended up thinking about her, like how I ended up forming her as a character, because like whenever I write fan fiction, I usually try to fit it in the broader narrative. Like it could still stand on its own somewhat, but I do like engaging with I like engaging with the concepts within the story and stuff to try to experiment more and give myself some constraints. So pretty much a question that I ask myself is just like, what can this character contribute besides dating, besides a relationship with the character that I crush on? Because that's usually what I write fan fiction for. It's just self-insert. It's self-insert healing. And so, and then even when I'm like writing a relationship and stuff, I like relationships that are teams and stuff, where it's like a learning experience between the two people involved and that they could cooperate with each other, because I'm already clear on like what I could benefit from being with a certain character, because I like that character and stuff. But it's just like, what can I make my character do to contribute? And what can I do to contribute with Aluna, who's the character that I talked about? She is she's from Kenya, and specifically she is a Wali, because I didn't want to use sorcerer to describe her, because Jujutsu sorcerer, like the word sorcerer is very taboo in Kenya. Like even without Abrahamic influence, that word was always taboo, because like it's associated with witchcraft, and witchcraft over there is specifically used to describe malicious magic. Even though magic is allowed, they have like specific terms and stuff, which isn't neutral over there as it is in like more Western spaces. But so they use Wali instead, which is like Arabic for friend of God and stuff. And they use Karamat to describe their ability, but they still use curses to describe curses, because like that's easy. But see, that's the body base, so put that on the head. So now I just gotta scale it down. And see, we're making life easier on ourselves. We're doing pro gamer moves. But yeah, Aluna is a college graduate, but she graduated late because she changed her major. So she's like 25, but she's still fresh out of college. And I'm trying to see how it looks compared to this. Yeah, this works. Now I need to draw her cape. But she has a degree in mass communication, because originally she wanted to be in film, but then she ended up wanting to be in journalism, only to not get in either, but she still got her degree anyways. Because she wanted to escape the sort of jujutsu world and stuff, because like it's a sucky job, honestly. Like, it's kind of a thankless job, and it can be depressing due to the kind of stuff that they deal with. So she would just rather do something else. But after finding out that there was like a human trafficking ring that was ran by a curse user, like, she still wanted to help people even as a journalist, because she wanted to expose like BS and whatnot going on. But she's just like, there's injustices that exist within the jujutsu world that I want to stand up and fight against. So she ended up staying a jujutsu sorcerer. And pretty much I kind of put her there to show a different perspective, because like with the jujutsu world in Japan, it's like very rigid. Like, I feel like every jujutsu society would be somewhat rigid, right? Because you know, because of the traditions and stuff, and it's a secret society. And then you got these powerful families that you got these powerful families that care more about maintaining a position of influence than actually helping people and stuff. And but Aluna, with her perspective, her sort of clan, because there are jujutsu sorcerers who aren't like necessarily from the traditional world. They could have been like born from a civilian family, and then they randomly find out that they got powers. But a lot of them come from families that have been in the field for that for generations, right? And Luna is one of them. But her clan is a little bit more community minded and stuff, and they actually get involved in politics because of how, like, curses, for those who aren't familiar with Jujutsu Kaisen, curses they manifest from negative energy and stuff. And that negative energy could come from anywhere, right? There's literally a curse that's born from the malice in human hearts, and that's why he's like emotionally intelligent, and he can manipulate and take advantage of people who aren't aware of what he is. There's a curse that's born from natural disasters, and he actually functions like a volcano and stuff. So it's like, if you know where curses come from, and there are like some curses that are the result of man-made things, then you can use policy or whatever to address some of these issues. And you know that Kenya as a country, they do a lot of, they do a lot of animal preservation, because like the savannah runs through Kenya, and like pretty much the through Kenya, the Congo, and a couple of other countries. But I know that Kenya has a major wildlife preservation initiative, and they also teamed up, like Disney even has some organizations over there because of the Lion King and stuff, because the Lion King actually takes place in the savannah, and much of the languages used are both Zulu and Swahili and stuff. So like Aluna's family helped establish these anti-poaching laws and stuff behind the scenes, because the poaching was actually causing curses due to like the sheer violence and whatnot, not just on the animals but also the nearby people who were affected. So that's a different perspective, because Aluna is used to like Aluna is sort of used to using her power to mitigate things, and I feel like with some characters in Jujutsu Kaisen, particularly Gojo, he uses his power, and he's a great teacher in the sense that he's affirmative, and he does try to help his students get stronger so that they can defy the Jujutsu world. But the problem is, I feel like he doesn't really do enough to like protect them from harm. And I feel like that should be a huge aspect of being a teacher, because like, okay, you're trying to foster the future, but the higher ups are literally trying to endanger these kids as a means to undermine your authority. And yeah, you could teach them to get stronger, but until they're actually strong enough to retaliate that, they're going to have to depend on you to protect them. So, and I feel like he's not proactive enough with some things. And I have a theory as to why. Gojo has definitely contemplated killing the higher ups before, because they're shitty people. They're garbage. Like, they are ass. But, I'm contemplating keeping the cape transparent so that you can see the full details of the dress. These are things that I think about. Things that I often think about. This is my Roman Empire Commission edition. But Gojo has thought of killing the higher ups and stuff. But I feel like the reason he hasn't yet, despite his gripes with leadership, is because of stuff that happened with his friend Geto and how he doesn't want to become like him. But to be honest, I kind of shit on that if that is the case. I don't know if that is the case. I'm theorizing. If that is the case, I shit on it. Because the reasons are very different. So the context is different. So it wouldn't make him the same person. It wouldn't make him the same person, and it wouldn't work the same way. And also, like, being unwilling to do what is necessary to keep your students safe while having the nerve to say that you're trying to foster the future, to me, that's counterintuitive. So, like, so I want Aluna, somebody who comes from a background of using that power, using that power to do something better and stuff, instead of having all of that power and being inactive. I wanted that. And then I'm also going to pair her with Nanami because I can, because I got two hands. Because I can, and I got two hands. But I feel like with Nanami kind of already went through his arc where he's like fully actualized as a person. And when he's in like extreme situations where he thinks he's gonna die, the pair. What do you mean the pair? Oh, the pair. Okay, pretty much I'm shipping Aluna with both Gojo and Nanami. It's just the dynamics are going to be a bit different. Yes. Because she got two hands. And it's what we deserve. But, let's see, this cut is too straight. How to... I gotta do folds. We love drawing fabric. But with Nanami, he's fully, what's the word? He's fully actualized as a person. Like, he's already went through his arc of finding his purpose and stuff, and Like, Nanami is very much the kind of person where if he were to die, he wouldn't die with regrets and stuff. But I feel like part of the reason why he doesn't die with regrets is because he sort of disqualified himself from having certain things. Like, he wanted to have a family, but he knew that being a Jujutsu sorcerer would put a damper on a relationship, so he just resigned himself to not having one and stuff. And after Shibuya, spoiler alert, I'm gonna change what happens in Shibuya, because I found out in a note from Gege that at most Nanami was supposed to lose an arm. And I'm not going to say exactly what happens because I don't know how far everybody is. But he ends up losing more than an arm. But in this rewrite, he's just going to lose an arm. And he's probably going to be like at a loss because it's just like, I can't be a Jujutsu. Yes, I'm going to change the ending because I'm salty. I'm so salty. But I'm going to make it where when Nanami loses his arm, he sort of doesn't know what to do with himself because he was just like, my meaning of life is being a Jujutsu sorcerer and I'm gonna die alone and stuff, and that's fine. Because, like, usually when you're a Jujutsu sorcerer, you're expected to die a horrible death. That sort of comes with the job description. But he's injured and he's still alive, and now he doesn't know what to do with himself because he's sort of forced to retire due to his condition. So I want Aluna to sort of show him maybe a different perspective, or maybe it's just like, maybe, like, we're not going to be those kinds of people who are like, oh, there's a meaning to you having a disability, because I don't like that. Like, I never like that stuff. Like, I understand why people try because they're trying to find a silver lining, but I think that things don't necessarily have to have a quote-unquote purpose to have a silver lining. Like, at the root of the matter, it's cope. It's cope, but I don't think that should be a good way to cope with it. Because, like, some horrible things are very senseless, right? But you could still be able to bounce back from it. It's not something that's necessary. But, I want her to, like, maybe show Nanami a different perspective, or like a different possibility of what he could do with his life. I wouldn't say that, because, like, even with the morbid sense of humor, it really depends. Because, like, having certain disabilities, and I'm very specific with being certain, because, like, I never like the I hate it whenever people are like, disability is my superpower or whatever, because it's just like, no, I got PCOS, I hate it, I want it gone, right? But silver linings, it could come in different ways depending on the disorder and the experience that comes from it. I feel like Nanami's silver lining is that he gets to retire from this damn job, because fuck this job. Fuck this job. He finally has an excuse to go to Malaysia. Now you have no choice but to go on vacation, nigga, because you can't fight. Like, he could put on a prosthetic and still give these curses the work, but I wouldn't. Wish the hell I would lose a limb at Shibuya, at the Shibuya roll call, and decide to clock in after. So the silver lining of his injury is just like, hey, now you could drop out and not give a fuck. Like, like, I ended up losing my train of thought. A girl is tired. But I'm trying to think. Not quite. I want to finish this cake, and then we'll go to bed, or I'll go to bed, cause I've just been tired lately. Like that's not really saying much of anything, cause I'm always tired, but it's just like a different kind of tired, and I've recently had some revelations about personal stuff, so it's just like, I need a nap, like spiritually. Fatigue, no, depression. I got a counselor though, so I'm gonna get an appointment. Like I recently got a referral, so that'll be nice. What layer is this even in? Oh, it's just one thing. That's so stupid. Pretty much the only thing that I hope for is that I don't have to be on medication, because I really don't want to be on medication. I'm not against medication, right? But like, I got so many medicines to keep up with. I do not need another one. Like, send me to a yoga class or something and I'll make that work. Like I'm joking, but I'm also so serious. I'm like, please, I don't need another thing to keep track of, please. Sometimes I forget that I got to stream. Please. Please. I want to have a good day. But no, I need Nanami to get a vacation and go to Malaysia. Fuck me, man. I don't care if she serves cunt. She needs to duck walk into a prison. But no, I need to keep this thing intact. I need to keep this thing intact so when I flip it, the fuck? Okay, that's what it is. But yeah, I need Nanami to go to Malaysia and have a good day. Thanks for watching me ramble about like film tropes and finally get good at drawing hair. Like now I know how to draw lock ponytails in the future. This is nice. This was a shorter stream than usual, but I'm really tired and stuff. But I appreciate the time y'all spending here. Y'all have a good evening. Stay above the water. Also, hey Lynn, thanks for dropping in. But y'all have a good night.